The ballroom shimmered with wealth. Golden light spilled from chandeliers so massive they could crush a man if they fell. The air was perfumed with expensive cologne, imported flowers, and the sweet tang of champagne. The marble floors reflected the guests in all their finery, women in dresses that swept the ground, men in suits tailored so sharply they looked dangerous. In the corner, near a tall potted palm, a man moved quietly with a mop. Luis Martinez. His uniform was simple, dark, with his name stitched over the breast pocket in white thread. He'd been working as a janitor in this building for 3 years. He wasn't invited to the party. Not really. He was here to work, to clean up after those who were. Events like this were routine. He'd learned how to be invisible. Slip in, wipe up a spill, slip out. Don't interrupt the laughter. Don't get in the way of the clinking glasses. The guests came to celebrate Thornton Global's yearly profits, to toast the CEO, Richard Thornton, and his empire. Luis kept his head down, working quietly, his thoughts far from the party, until she noticed him. Vanessa Thornton, daughter of Richard Thornton. Her hair was a waterfall of gold curls, her dress sleek and glittering under the light. She was surrounded by her friends, other sons and daughters of the wealthy, laughing like the world belonged only to them. She saw Luis bend down to pick up a napkin. "Hey!" she called, her voice cutting through the music. Luis looked up, startled. "You missed a spot," she said, gesturing toward the floor like she was summoning a servant. Luis walked over, mopped the spot she pointed to, and turned to leave. "Wow," she said loudly enough for the people around her to hear. "No smile? No, yes, ma'am." What's the point of having staff if they don't at least pretend to be happy? Her friends laughed. One of them, a man with slick back hair, added, "Betty's just mad he's not invited to the party." Luis kept moving, ignoring them, but Vanessa wasn't done. "Seriously," she went on, "my dad should hire someone who actually likes working here. Or at least someone who doesn't look like they just came from cleaning the subway." The laughter was cruel this time. Luis felt it in his chest. Not because the words hurt. He'd heard worse. But because she thought it was funny. Because to her, his worth was defined by the mop in his hand. He straightened, looked her in the eye for half a second, and said calmly, "Have a good evening, Miss Thornton." She smirked, thinking she'd won some invisible game. But she had no idea that tomorrow the rules would change. The next morning began like any other for most people, but not for Thornton Global. In the company's top-floor conference room, the board of directors gathered for an emergency meeting. Richard Thornton was stepping down as CEO, effective immediately. He was selling the company to a private investor. The details were hush-hush. No one knew the buyer's name. Luis, dressed in a crisp dark suit instead of his janitor's uniform, stepped into the elevator that morning. The security guard at the front desk didn't stop him. Instead, he greeted him with, "Good morning, Mr. Martinez." When the elevator doors opened on the top floor, the air changed. Executives in tailored suits sat around the long glass table. At one end sat Richard Thornton himself, and beside him, Vanessa. She was scrolling on her phone, only half listening to the low murmur conversation. Then the room fell silent as Luis walked in. She looked up and her eyes widened. He didn't head for the corner or the door. He walked to the head of the table, the chair at the center, the chair reserved for the person in charge. "Good morning," Luis said, his voice even. "As of last night, I am the new owner of Thornton Global." Vanessa blinked. Once, twice, her champagne-fueled laughter from the night before felt like it was ringing in her own ears. Luis continued, "I've worked in this building for 3 years. Not in an office. Not with a title anyone respects. But in that time, I've seen everything. How people are treated, who's remembered, and who's forgotten." His gaze swept the room and landed on her. "In my company, everyone matters. Everyone deserves respect. From the boardroom to the janitor's closet." Vanessa's cheeks burned. Her father shifted uncomfortably. The truth about Luis? He wasn't just a janitor. Years ago, he had built a small cleaning company from the ground up. Through hard work, smart investments, and a little luck, that business grew into a property management empire. He sold part for millions and lived quietly, never flaunting his wealth. When Thornton Global went up for sale, he made his move. The board approved. The deal was done. And the man Vanessa had mocked for mopping the floor was now signing her paycheck. The first few weeks under Luis's leadership were tense. Old hierarchies crumbled. Executives who thought they were untouchable suddenly found themselves held to higher standards. Luis introduced new policies: equal pay audits, mentorship programs, employee recognition events. He wanted a culture where respect wasn't optional. Vanessa avoided him at first, but one afternoon, she knocked on his open office door. "Mr. Martinez," she said, "do you have a minute?" He gestured for her to sit. "I wanted to apologize," she began, her voice quieter than usual, "for what I said at the party. I was wrong. You didn't deserve that." Luis leaned back, studying her face. "Why are you apologizing now?" She swallowed. "Because I realize now, you can't know someone's worth by the job they have or the clothes they wear. I treated you like you were less than me, and you weren't. You aren't." Luis nodded. "I appreciate you saying that. But remember, it's not just about me. It's about how you treat everyone." She nodded. "I understand." 6 months later, Thornton Global's annual party looked nothing like the one where Vanessa had humiliated Luis. Instead of an exclusive ballroom, it was held in the company's courtyard. Long tables ran the length of the space, lit by strings of warm bulbs. The catering was excellent, but the atmosphere was better, because everyone was welcome. Luis stood near the buffet, laughing with an intern from accounting. Vanessa approached, holding 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to him with a smile. "No missed spots tonight," she joked lightly. Luis chuckled. "That's good to hear." They stood together, watching executives and maintenance workers, interns and department heads, all sharing food and conversation as equals. "Feels different this year," Vanessa said. "It is," Luis replied. "That's the point. Because here's the thing. Respect costs nothing, but its absence can cost everything. You never know who you're talking to, who they might become, or what they might already be. And the person you dismiss today might hold the keys tomorrow. If you believe that everyone deserves dignity, whether they sweep the floors or sign the checks, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that matter, and let's keep the conversation going. Because next time, it might not be him. It might be someone you know.